All right, guys, welcome back. We are watching Hanamonogatari episode 5. This is the finale of Suruga Devil. Last episode was so insanely good. We heard the rest of Numachi's story, but much more importantly, Araragi has returned, and he gave Kambaru a much-needed talking to. And I am hype. I guess we're gonna do something. I don't know what Kambaru wants to do exactly, but she's gonna do something about this whole Numachi situation because it bothers her. So, perfect. So yeah, I guess that's about it. This arc has been fucking amazing. So I hope the finale, our last finales for the past, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 arcs have all been insane. So if this one is that good as well, I'm down for it. So we're watching episode 5 of Hanamonogatari. You can line you and copy up with this if you want to. We are starting in 3, 2, 1. A package. From who? Who would it be from? Guy Nizuko? He still hasn't shown up. I guess she's just not going to, huh? Guy gave me this. You don't have to pay me. Use it if you want. Throw it out if you want. Okay. She swallowed. It's okay. That's sure as the devil, huh? Alrighty. From Kaiki, I would assume, right? I don't know who else that would be from if it's not from Kaiki. So, okay. Interesting. The devil's head, I guess, right? I assume the whole head's in there. That is something. What would happen if you, I don't know. What do they mean by use it if you want? We're gonna use the devil's head? I don't really want to, that's for sure. What would happen if you used the devil's head, you know? Like, huh. Like, cause it would like take over your head, you know? That would like when that okay, that would be scary. Hmm. Oh, last time we get this opening. So sad. I'll be myself, absolutely. Alrighty. Episode 5. I didn't go to school that day, the next day too, and the day after that. Okay. Sure, we didn't go to school for a long time. Hi, Numachi. Okay. Ooh, interesting thing to say. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yep. The devil. Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah, he never gave it to Numachi, huh? Man, Kaiki's plan here is very interesting, you know? I wonder if he's doing all of this for Kanbru for some reason. Like, whatever all of this stuff is with the devil. And, yeah, manipulating Numachi too in some way, you know? Maybe. Or he could have a motive that neither of you understand, right? Yeah, sure. True. No. How did Kanbru even find Numachi again? Okay. Are you gonna ask her about the whole being dead thing? Ooh. Oh, sure. Oh, wow. Maybe, perhaps. Hmm. Not that weak. Do you have to be weak to give into it? I don't know. Sure. Is she strong? I suppose. Hmm. Ooh, okay. Make it come true yourself. That is interesting with my whole theory about Numachi and the other Roka being the same person, right? Can't bear to look at her. I can understand why now, especially, right? It kind of makes even more sense. You're visible to me. Ooh, interesting. It's almost like the nature of her as a ghost, right? Like, why can Kumbru see her if she's a ghost? Hmm. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna have to read that again. All right, let's have a match. Oh no. But why, right? Why do you even want her to stop? Well, okay. I guess. I suppose. Smash it with a hammer. Okay, sure. Oh, true, right. You would be disrespecting the sanctity of basketball. Ooh, won't play around. Oh, right. Yeah. Cause she only did that at the end last time, right? When she did the dunk. Can she? Can a human win against the devil? Sure. Calling it a ruse, huh? All right. Well, true. Right. Yeah. Why? What will you gain from getting her to stop doing this? Right. I mean, we had the whole conversation with Aragi, right, about how it bothers you, and I guess I understand that, but. Okay. So it's like her goal now can be to destroy the devil, instead of collect it all. Oh, I guess. Natural enemies in that way, perhaps? Hmm. I like her. Come on. Sure, I guess. I guess you could but would you do that, right? Would you break the vow here? Hmm. Not scared. All right. Okay. I guess. I wonder why she thinks that of her. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I guess. I guess you are. Ooh, hiding your arm for the past year. Doesn't have to anymore. Okay, I guess it's basketball time. Ooh, you think? Think it'll be that big? Brains of the operation. Hmm. I wonder what the devil like is, right? Because the way Oshino described it, it seemed so much just a normal aberration, right? The rainy devil. But it seems like such a big deal now. Hmm. Okay. Ooh. One round. That's it, man. Okay. Really putting this down to a lot of chance, huh? I did not catch that. Hmm. Sure. Right, right. I suppose. She's the one coming up with it. No whining, though. Oh god, that foot just looks terrifying. Yeah, there's like a whole team outside waiting for you guys to finish. Ooh. Hmm. Or is she saying that because, yeah, she's a ghost, right? The idea that she should go to heaven, right? I don't know. Oh, okay. I should never, we're gonna address that directly. Okay. All right. I was gonna say, I wonder if we have like a misunderstanding of ghosts, whether or not they can really go to heaven, you know? But, oh, man, that really bothered her, didn't it? I guess she didn't think that Numachi. She just thought Numachi was like lying. I suppose. I mean, so did I. I guess on some level, it was unclear exactly if she knew she was a ghost or not. Hmm. Does that make it worse? Right? Because like she said last time, it's like, yeah, ah, forgotten that she killed herself. Oh man, it's possible. How terrifying that is, right? Like, what does that make you think about yourself? No one wants to. No one wants to believe that they're dead. I did not catch that. That's a very interesting thing to say there, right? Because it's like Kambaru could almost think that of herself in some sense, right? And like a maybe not a literal sense, but hmm. It's like she has to like fulfill her duty, I guess, right? It's like that's why she's been bound here as an oddity still. She has to do that, I guess. That makes it so much worse, right? What I was gonna say is like what Kambaru said last time to Aragi about going up to someone and telling them they're miserable. It's even worse than that. Because she doesn't even know, right? She doesn't even know she's dead. And I guess the question now is it's like, is Comber doing this, preventing her from collecting the devil parts? Is that trapping her here longer? I can't bear to look at her, right? Oh, okay. To confirm that she is not me. Oh no, that is a really good line. Hmm. Because there are so many ways you can compare them, right? I mean, obviously, just like the whole running away from your problems thing, but confirm that she's not me. Oh, really? Okay. Higasa certainly seemed to know a lot about her, and I thought they were on the same team. Oh, okay. So they did. I mean, they did play against each other, just not like a real match, I guess. Okay. Believe in karma? I guess she does, right? She certainly does. Talked about how evil her misery collecting is. My whole time in middle school fighting you. That's you could take that in like a dark way. Ooh, she. Hmm. I forgot you. Huh. Hmm. Oh no, this that. I think those lines have a lot of meaning to them in some like thematic way. Better to do something and regret it than not do it and regret it. Ooh, it's better to better to sure. Okay. Yeah, the inaction is better than the action, right? That of course you would have that stance, right? Oh, right, and of course that's so relevant to her. Think about what she regrets doing, you know. But Oh, sure, right. Yeah. Okay, it's about the regret, right? Not the action itself. Oh God. Man, she is scary. Ooh. What do you even do? Oh yeah. What did they call her again? The Mud Swamp or something? Had some nickname for a defense. Sure. There's no one else here though, but what are we doing? Okay. Oh, a big. Is that easy? No way. Oh God. Oh, let's go. We dunked. We did the dunk. We did it. We did it, and we don't regret it. Oh, fuck. I thought dunks were cheating, huh? Nice. Well, no. She dunked it, so she won. Come on. Is that how it works? True. Ooh, needed to win the match no matter what, and that's important, right? Ooh. Okay. Hmm. Forgot what? Ooh. Oh, basketball is a team sport. Of course. I quit without knowing that. Oh, no. Hmm. Interesting. That's interesting that it's like she's had that realization now, I suppose. Oh, she remembers now. Oh, get back on the court. Literally, what are you standing still for? Go live your life. Sitting on the sidelines. Oh, right. You can't just sit around and wait. Yeah, coming from her. Oh, oh, she's gone. Parts of the devil. Both times, huh? God, that was so good. Ooh, I'm sure it was. It's like Numachi knew what made her her, right? Ooh, jealous of her. Ooh, didn't we get a shot just like that in Monogatari? God, that was such a good scene. That she was jealous of her, huh? That no, that makes sense. Ooh, Antoe. Good's motive is jealousy of evil. Okay. Absolutely. If that's how you want to view it. One day I will be grateful towards my mother. Oh, I gotta read all that again. Hope you don't ever feel the same as her. Right? That platitude she keeps spouting off, right? She was water, but muddy water at that. Beautiful. Clear mud, huh? I don't have any interesting aspects about myself. You think so? Okay. That was a much more. What's up, Aragi? That was a much more. Okay. Yeah, get out of here. Didn't catch any of that. Oh, here to clean up. Here to clean up the room. Oh, like, come on, I guess. It's happened so many times. Okay, well, I think that excites you more than a lot of things, honestly. I, sure. Okay, I guess. Huh. Interesting, she didn't really play along. I love this fucking music so much. I love Araragi. I love Kambaru. I love them all. Ooh, you think? No, you wouldn't have. But I think you know about being too harsh on yourself. You think? Hmm. I guess, it's like Kambaru, it's like what they said in the last episode, right? Kambaru playing a role, almost, right? Not in like a bad way, of course, but doing what she thinks Aragi would want her to do, maybe. And there's nothing wrong with that. What's he gonna do with it? Sure. Where is Shinobu? She gotta come out here. Well, I guess. It's dangerous, though. Oh, what does that say? Schadenfreude. Okay. No, that makes sense, right? The misery thing. Yeah. You think? I'm happier than anyone. Ooh, that is a big thing, right? What would you wish for, Kambara? Okay. I like freedom, the Statue of Liberty. Okay, right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. And that makes it bad, of course. Yeah. She's taller than you, though. Come on. She's fun. No, you know what? Comber not playing along with this. I think there's meaning to it. I'm telling you. Ooh, wishes are something you grant for yourself. That's okay. Huh? Value in making the wish itself. Hmm. Like acknowledging your own desires, right? Sure. Yeah. 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 That's Comber's like thing. Ooh, looks down at the hands. Okay. You think? Well, it kind of ended up having the opposite effect than that, didn't it? It made you doubt your own desires and your own wishes. God, he's so cool. Ooh. Oh. Oh, we're cutting the hair. Oh my god, we're cutting the hair. Oh my god, we're cutting the hair. Oh, yeah, and that's why she wanted to do it in the first place, remember? Ooh, we're going back to basketball. We'll get back on the court. Did you cut Hanakawa's too? Ooh. Oh, of course. It's my way of ending this. Yeah. Oh. This music. A ride to where? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. Ski, you can find anything. Oh, find the devil parts. Yeah. To destroy them, I assume. Right. Are we? God, his hair looks cool. Oh. Oh, wow. Man. Oh. God, how impactful that is. Okay. Sure. But, okay. Not about whether it's right or wrong. Oh my god, what a thing for Haragi to say. Oh man. It was all part of being young. Oh, God, that was so good. Oh my god. That was so good. How does it just keep getting better? How do we just keep going up? How did, like, oh my god. No, that was so good. Holy shit. How do we do that? How does the author do that, right? Where it's like it's I don't even know. Oh my god. No, what a fucking arc. Holy shit. No, that was just it's crazy. I don't even know. Like I just like all that stuff just Aragi just said, the symbolism of him cutting her hair, the like oh man. What an episode. What an episode. No, this has to be my favorite episode, right? It has to be. Like, I don't know. Like, that was crazy. That was insane. Wow. Wow. No, that was insane. This was such a good arc. This was crazy. Kambaru has, like, I don't know. She has ascended the ladder of amazing characters, that's for sure. Okay, we will talk about the episode in the discussion. Okay, let's talk about the episode. That was so good. Yeah, I don't know. That was just a really good episode. I really loved this arc. This arc was kind of rough to understand a lot of parts of it. There's a lot that I still think I don't really like get at all. But that's okay. It was a really good arc. It's at this point we've gone through so many arcs. I feel like it's impossible for me to say like what my favorite arc or anything is, especially because like recency bias, like stuff I just watched, I'm gonna remember a lot more. But I don't know. This episode was insane. This arc was just really good. So, man, I don't know. It was great. Anyway, we start off here. Cumber getting this package from Kaiki, right? Guyan gave me this. You don't have to pay me. Use it if you want. Throw it out if you want. So Guyan Toei gave Kaiki the devil head. So Guyan Toei, right? What is up with her? Why does she have like all the devil pieces, right? At this point, it's like, did she just have all of them? Because she gave the arm to Kambaru, she gave this head to Kaiki. Um, what the hell is up with the devil? I just don't like because again, it's weird because in Bakemonogatari, Oshino, the way he described the rainy devil, I guess maybe I'm just wrong. It just seemed like he was explaining it as if it was just like a normal bog standard aberration, just a normal oddity, nothing to worry about, you know. I mean, I guess it was something to worry about because his solution was to cut off Kumburu's arm. But, you know, it is pretty, but now it just seems like such a big deal, the devil, like getting all the pieces together or whatever. At this point, I don't think that's ever going to happen, right? I guess I'm curious what would happen if the devil pieces did come together. Um, I don't know. And then what is Guyan's, like, relation with it, I don't know. Because it seems like she must have had all the pieces at some point, right? But I don't know. I mean, here's the thing, right? Is the devil is obviously like the way the devil works in the story has been kind of like it works the way it does because it like fits in with Kamburu's story, right? Like ever since Suruga Monkey, the devil has been like a literal representation in the story of like her feelings and her problem ever since Suruga Monkey, right? Her like regretting her actions, all that stuff, right? So in that sense, Guy and Toei like having something to do with the devil too makes a lot of sense because obviously there's the whole thing that the whole if you can't be a cure. I mean, if you can't be what the hell is it? If you can't be a cure, be poison or just be plain water, whatever. Kamburu's mother's weird thing about that, right? Which I think that also like kind of fits into like Kamburu's same problem, right? It sounds like basically my summary on that is Kamburu's mother seems like she had similar problems to what Kamburu is going through now, like mentally, her whole issue, right? And that's why Kamburu's mother said all that stuff in the dream in the first episode about like, life's gonna suck for you. And it's not because you're special, it's because you're weak and all this stuff. So her being related to the devil as well makes sense if they had similar issues, because obviously the devil works the way it does, like from a story writing sense, because it's so related to Kamburu, right? But like in universe, what does that like mean, right? What made the devil exist, right? It works so differently than any other oddity we've ever seen. It's like in parts, and we don't want to get it together again. But was it together at one point, and did Guy and Toei have it? Because she's given these parts out to all these people. I don't know. Who knows? I guess it's impossible to figure it out. So there we go. There's all my thoughts on that. Sad we're not going to see this opening again. I really loved this opening. The more times I saw it, it just got better. And Kamburu didn't go to school all these days, so man, she's sacrificing her education. Like, come on. 20th of April, 4:20. She meets up with Numachi yet again in the court, the basketball court. The feeling I have is like remembering something I'd long forgotten just before falling asleep. That certainly is very relevant to Numachi, right? There's certainly something she needs to remember, right? I figured you'd be here, Numachi. Kaiki must have told you. That is, like, I guess that's just how she just went to the court, and Numachi was just there. But, like, 3 days later, Kamburu just somehow knew that 3 days later, if she came to the court at this specific time, Numachi would be here. I guess. Of course, you could also say, like, some weird, like, oddity stuff going on. Because, of course, Numachi is a ghost, right? So I do wonder... Kaiki giving Kamburu the head, like, what do we think about that, right? Like, use it if you want, throw it out if you want. That is interesting, right? Him saying that, because, like, I think Kaiki knows what Kamburu is going to do with it. I feel like I mean, maybe not, but I imagine that Kaiki has some kind of grand, overarching purpose for what's going on here, for him giving her this head, which is, like, what happens here, right? It's this whole... She uses the head in this case to kind of achieve her, fulfillment with this Numachi situation, So I could imagine, considering Kaiki being the way he is, that is actually his real motivation here, right? The same way I said, like, in Nisei Monogatari, when he tells Senjugahara that the guy who assaulted her died in a car crash, right? Well, it's kind of there. It's like, him saying that, you can take that in like a weird way, him saying it to like, hurt her somehow, right? Because he affirmed that it had nothing to do with her and that it was, all this stuff, right? But at the same time, you could almost say it seems like he's like, trying to help her get over her past in some way, right? In the same case here, it's like, did Kaiki give Kamburu the head for this purpose to help her with all of this stuff? Like, maybe. Kaiki would have to know a lot of shit, though, if that's the case, right? Like, I don't know if he knows that much. Because, like, they even sit here and they think for a second, like, oh, was he going to take all the parts from me? Was he going to sell it to me? And Kamburu says, like, oh, but he could have just sold it to a scientist, So it's like, even in that sense, it's like they kind of themselves debunk their own theory here, the idea that Kaiki's just doing this for money or something, Or to, like, manipulate Numachi or blah, 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 whatever, I don't know. It's interesting. I love Kaiki. So she's not getting over the head, of course, and we kind of get more about this dislike of Numachi that Kamburu has, which makes sense to me. She says that she thinks she's jealous of Numachi in one sense. Here's what I think it is, right? She's jealous of Numachi in one sense, which we'll get into later, actually. And the other reason why I think she has this dislike of Numachi is a line that shows up in a minute. The whole thing about her wanting to confirm that Numachi, like, isn't her, right? Because there's all of these similarities between these two characters in terms of running away from their problems and all of that. They both stopped playing basketball. They both kind of gave up on their lives, essentially, right? Like, Numachi's obviously dead, but if we ignore the fact that Numachi's dead, either way, she stopped going to school, she stopped playing basketball, she stopped doing all this stuff, right? Same with Kanbaru, right? I guess she didn't stop going to school, but she stopped playing basketball. She stopped, like, having a personality of her own, almost. Stopped chasing any of her desires or wishes, right? And of course, where did that lead Numachi? To suicide, you know? So Kanbaru wanting to be sure that Numachi, like, isn't her, like, makes sense, right? She wants to make sure that she is different from Numachi, essentially. That she's not going to go down the same path as her. So her having, like, this inherent dislike of her, like, yeah. Maybe, I mean, I guess calling it dislike is probably not fair, right? It's not that she dislikes her, it's that she feels, like, uneasy about her, most certainly, you know? Now, Kanbaru says this. You're strong, you'll never wish for something from the devil. If you had a wish, you'd make it come true yourself. That is interesting, Kanbaru saying that, because obviously that does go against my whole theory in the last episode about Numachi telling that story about Hanadori Roka, and that just being the same person as Numachi Roka, right? Because in this case, because it's like Numachi did end up getting the devil leg, right? So if that was her the whole time, and Numachi did actually make that wish that Hanadori Roka made, then that kind of throws this out the window, right? But I guess I'm unsure why Kanbaru thinks this in the first place. Why she thinks that Numachi would try and achieve her own wishes, try and make her own wishes come true, you know? Um, God. No, there's definitely something here, right? Because it's something I've never really figured out fully about, like, how much blame I can assign on the idea of the devil, right? Because, again, it's Kanbaru's problem in terms of chasing her own desires, chasing her own wishes, because it hurts other people, because it has hurt other people in the past, not, like, inherently, right? Is, very much tied to the devil, right? It's tied to hurting other people through the devil. You know what I mean? So Kanbaru saying that Numachi would make her wishes come true herself, but she wouldn't use the devil to do it. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know what to think about that. Because for Kanbaru, it's like that's not an option, right? For Kanbaru, when she's had something that she's really wanted, she has gone to the devil to try and get it. And that has resulted in her hurting other people, which has made her scared of her own wishes and what, like, she wants, right? But she's saying that Numachi wouldn't do that. That it's not that Numachi wouldn't chase her desires like Kanbaru, which is Kanbaru's conclusion from this, is that she shouldn't chase her desires. But no, that Numachi would make it come true herself. But how does that get around, like, Kanbaru's problem, right? Because Kanbaru's problem is hurting other people in pursuit of those desires or wishes. Like, what does it mean to not use the devil? You know what I like, on like a thematic level, like not on like a oddity like in the story, but like what does it mean to not use the devil and to make it come true yourself? Oh God, I don't know. There literally has to be an answer there to like this kind of like dilemma I've had about the devil. Um, maybe if I read more, maybe I. Oh God. No, she doesn't say any more about it. Oh, fuck. Fuck, I don't know. God damn it. No, there's something there. There has to be something there. Ah, it's the worst feeling ever because I could probably figure it out if I really tried, maybe. Hmm. Oh god. Oh no. Okay. But obviously it does go against the whole thing with Dumachi and Hanadori Roka being the same person, right? So I don't know, that is interesting. It's also interesting that of course Kanbaru has this view of Numachi, because like her and Numachi are so similar in a lot of ways. I don't know why Kanbaru has reached the conclusion that Numachi would be different and would be able to make her wish come true herself, right? Like I guess on some way you could just say that of course it's possible to chase your wishes without hurting other people, right? Like I guess you don't, but you know. Um I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out at some point in life. I don't know. She can't bear to look at her, of course. You're visible to me. Precisely because you're visible to me, I cannot stand looking at you. This is an interesting thing to think about, because it's something I hadn't thought about before this episode, right? But think about how Hajikuji works, right? Hajikuji's a ghost, just like Numachi, and the only people who can see Hajikuji are people who fit a specific, like, category, right? It's people who don't want to go home, right? That's why Hanakawa could always see her, right? Or I guess it's like maybe it's not that specific. Maybe it's like lacking a home, not maybe it's a more vague sense than that, right? But that's why Aragi could see her in Mayuri Snail, and why Shinjugahara couldn't. It's why Hanakawa could see Hajikuji and Mayuri Snail and Tsubasa Tiger, right? Because she hasn't had a home, right? So with Numachi, if there's a reason why people can see her, like, let's say with Numachi, it works like that too. Let's say Numachi is also a ghost, and let's say being an oddity, right? Because I think ghosts always probably have some more kind of meaning to them in this universe, more so than just being a ghost, right? I assume, just like Hajikuji, there's regrets behind Numachi's death that she left behind that made her be the way she is, made her be a ghost, you know? So what would be the thing that makes it so you can see Numachi if she's a ghost and it works that way? You know what I mean? I guess you could really think of a lot of things. I wonder, though, it's like, because Kaiki can see her too, and that is interesting. What has Kaiki said? What has Kaiki said before, at the end of Karen B? He said that there's no point in overcoming the past, or something like that, right? That there's no point. Didn't he even say something about running away? And that, maybe I'm hallucinating that, maybe not. But he said something about the idea of never overcoming the past, right? And he can see her. It certainly seems like Kaiki's actions are very much dictated by his relationship with Gantoe and all of that stuff, right? So the idea of Kaiki being someone who has ran away from his past, essentially, but through his idea of never being able to overcome it. And Komburu's like that too, running away from her problems, right? And obviously Numachi, like, embodies that. So would Numachi's, like, the category you have to fit in to be able to see Numachi, like, being someone who runs away from your problems, you know what I mean? And it's almost like you could say that's why Kombaru stopped seeing Numachi at the end of the arc, right? Like, I guess, you know, that feels kind of like mean to say, because like you want to think that Numachi just like passed on and like isn't around anymore. And hey, maybe she did, right? But it's also like it could be interesting to think about Kombaru like overcoming her problem right then, you know. And then yeah, Numachi's gone, right? And I guess in like a thematic sense, in like a story writing sense, that is like literally what happens too, right? You could say Numachi is representative of that problem for Kombaru. So yeah, once she overcomes it, of course, Numachi's gone, right? And that's what I'm saying, like, Kombaru's saying here, you're visible to me, precisely because you're visible to me, I can't stand looking at you, right? She can see Numachi, she can see what Numachi represents, like, for her, and, like, as an oddity, as a ghost, which is running away from your problems, right? And, I mean, if you want to go deeper, you can also go into the whole, like, suicide angle, right? Like, of course, you know. If you're a believer in the whole Numachi Roka and Hanadori Roka are the same person, then like that really makes sense with the scene of her like hugging her and like the idea of like suicide, you know. And of course that would be very dark for like Kombaru as well, but it kind of makes sense. Let me read this, sorry. When you get down to it, I think that's how most things in this world are. You can't bear to look at them. Motives like that are at the bottom of everything. Both good and evil come from not being able to look at it. What does she mean by this exactly? Like, let me switch to the other subs for a second, where I'm going to be disappointed, though. We can stand looking at neither good nor evil. Okay, I guess. I guess that's acceptable. But, like, not being able to look at it. What do we mean by that? Like, not being able to analyze the... Oh, no, there's actually so much meaning you can take from this. Like, I'm just like, oh, no, there's so much stuff you could take from this, right? The idea of, like, not being able to, like, understand the nuance behind what makes something good and what makes something evil. The idea of not being able to want to look at like the meaning behind something that you find evil, right? Like that's kind of like Kombaru's thing here, right? She just knows that she finds what Numachi is doing like unpleasant and bad, you know. She doesn't even understand why. She just says that it bothers her, you know. And even that you can say that's like her not wanting to look at it, right? No, there's so much meaning that you can take from this actually. Obviously, for Kombaru as well, it's very relevant to her problem, like not being able to look at like herself and her problems and things that she wants in life, you know. I guess, not being able to look at things is kind of very similar to, like, running away from your problems, right? Never addressing anything. You see something you don't want to, and you can't bear to look at it. Hmm. Let's have a match. Having a one-on-one with the ghost of suicide, maybe. I don't know. I can't decide if that's... The idea of Numachi being more so representative of running away from your problems makes more sense, right? But, of course, suicide is so tied into that it makes sense to me. Hmm. And, of course, like, I mean, it's so... I don't know how the author does this. It's so crazy how we have a character whose problem... I guess he does this in every arc, right? But we have a character whose problem that they have with, like, life and, like, the way they're thinking about things and approaching things becomes, like, a literal physical thing in the story that is, like, in universe created by that problem existing. And then they get to play basketball against them and beat them. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's just kind of how stories work in general, right? Just, like, pretty much all stories have that kind of thing in them, right? Where the antagonist is going to be representative of, like, a problem that the protagonist is facing, right? That's kind of how story writing works. But in Monogatari, it's so interesting because that's how, like, it works in the universe. Like, oddities are a literal representation of that system. And I like that too because it's almost like that's why it's called the Monogatari, right? It's called, like, Monogatari means, like, story, right? Like tale, I guess. And, like, yeah, it's like for a show that's so meta like this, of course, it being called Monogatari when it has, like, meta elements like this that are literally, like, in universe, like they work like that. It's just it's actually insane. I don't know. Somehow the author of this came across the best way to write a story ever because it's really good. That's for sure. Hmm. Your winning means I'm going to smash the head with a hammer. It always comes down to smashing the head with a hammer, doesn't it? It's the solution to all your problems. Hmm. Even that is interesting, her threatening her with this. Because the devil of Funumachi is what she really wants. It's like it goes into the whole wishes and desire thing. And her threatening to destroy it. I don't know. It's interesting. Hmm. And Numachi is fucking scary with all of her devil stuff going on. I didn't catch this, did I? If Haragi stood here in my place, he'd think of an even bigger ruse. I did read that. Yeah, are you really calling this a ruse, Conbrew? Your plan is to just beat her in basketball. So, like, I guess. Hmm. If I win, you have to stop collecting misery and collecting the devil. I'll destroy all the devil's parts you gathered. Hmm. Cost to you is a benefit for me. It is interesting. I don't know. Conbrew's thoughts about it. I wish we got more about it. Like her. But I guess that's kind of the point, right? Is that she just knows it bothers her, and she knows this is just what she wants, right? And she doesn't have to look into some crazy, deeper meaning behind it. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of goes along with what I already said last time. It makes sense. Okay, and yeah, Numachi is terrifying, honestly. Conver saying she's not scared of her, I don't believe her. Also, I don't know what she means by this. Numachi, you're the kind of woman who could steal something, but you couldn't take it by force. Couldn't tell you, I guess, if you say so. Hmm. Hiding your arm for the past year must have been hell. Oh, you don't even know, honestly. It sure has been. Has it been about a year? I guess it has been, right? Suruga Monkey was pretty shortly after... Well, I guess I don't really remember the timeline that well. But it couldn't have been that long after, like, Kizu, and Kizu was in April. This is in April, right? So, yeah, I guess it's been about a year, probably. Hmm. Yeah, she's terrifying. Look at her. She's scary. Man. I don't know, Numachi is so interesting. Her saying that she doesn't want to hear whining. But at the same time, it's like initially she said, I just don't want to, I want to feel like I won. Where I come from, running, this would be the 50-meter sprint. And where you come from, soccer, this would be a penalty shootout. It's interesting that both of them have, like, their origin points like that. And they both ended up playing basketball instead for some reason, right? For both of them, For Kombaru, it was, of course, her fear of hurting other people that made her stop playing, that made her stop running, that made her start playing basketball instead, right? For Numachi, she said she stopped playing soccer because, what? Because it was too easy? I mean, kind of, but it was also because of the way other people treated her, right? She thought she was too good at it. Hmm. That is certainly a difference between them, right? I don't know. All right. And Numachi doesn't know she's a ghost, which is kind of terrifying, honestly. And the reason why this is scary is because it can also apply to like Kombaru too, right? The idea that you can be dead, that your life can already be over, and you just don't even know, right? It doesn't have to be the same situation as Numachi exactly, right? But it's like the idea that it's already too late to do anything, that you've already been running away for too long, and that you don't even know, that Numachi doesn't even know she's a ghost, and it's like that could be true for Kombaru too, you know? Not like in the literal sense that she's already dead and that she doesn't know it. I mean, I guess you could say that, but like in the sense of like, the fact that Numachi doesn't realize it's already over, that she's already ran away for too long, that her problems can't be fixed now, right? Not that she, she already abandoned that idea so long ago, but it's like Kombaru, that's what's running through her head too now, right? It's like, man, that she just doesn't even know. She doesn't realize that she's dead. She doesn't understand she's a ghost. She's not aware that she herself is an aberration collecting unhappiness. She has forgotten that she killed herself. And I guess it's like that could literally be true for Kombaru, right? But it's like for Kombaru, the more terrifying thing obviously is the idea that she's already too far gone, and that she's more similar than Numachi that she realizes, that she's ran away from her problems for so long that it's just impossible to fix now. Because I guess it's true. You would never know when that line passes, right? I'm sure no one wants to admit they're dead, and I'm sure they wouldn't want to believe it. Yeah. Numachi is so aloof, like speaking in an enlightened way, and generally seems like a very strong character. But that in no way means that she would have to be able to accept her own death. Yeah. And in this sense, I'm taking death also as just being like, giving up on life, I suppose. Which you can really, basketball essentially is like life, right? In this story, right? Like the way both of them stop playing basketball is both of them like giving up on life. So yeah, I guess Kombaru's right on the edge in that sense. You know what I mean? Hmm. That's why she's trapped here on Earth. She's trying to gather misery and gather the devil's parts without knowing anything. Hmm. This is harder than hard. Is there another one there? I think that's the only one there. Yeah. Okay. I have to tell my old rival that she's already dead. Man, because she's what I could have become. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Yes, because I can't bear to look at her. As her former rival, I want to deal the final blow to her. Fair and square. Oh, here we go. Wait. Fair and square want to win against Numachi, right? Of course she wants to win against Numachi, because Numachi, think about what Numachi is. Yeah, what she is for Kombaru, right? I want to confirm that she is not me. I want to be sure. Yeah. Such good lines. So good. In middle school, everyone used to say we were rivals. But Kombaru, I don't know, them being rivals, they keep bringing it up, and I'm really trying to think about it, right? It makes sense, of course, the idea that Numachi is a adversarial force against Kombaru, because of, like, of course she is, like, what Numachi represents is certainly an adversarial force in Kombaru's, like, life, right? So I guess that could be all there is to them being rivals, right? But, I don't know. Apparently this is the first time they faced each other for real. Which again, like, makes sense because, of course, right? Like, yeah, Kombaru has kind of avoided facing the issue that Numachi is representative of this whole time, right? So yeah, and the fact they keep bringing it back to middle school is interesting, right? Because it's like Kombaru, it almost is like she's faced this problem before, in a sense, before Senjo Gahara came around, right? Because she had the same thing happen before. She's had the same thing happen twice, where she has done something and regretted it so much, like with the kids I'm talking about that she beat up when she was in elementary school, right? Um, so like, what's the idea there that she was facing Numachi in those moments too in middle school, right? Um, I suppose, I guess. But then, okay, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because Numachi says like everything changed when Senjougahara came around, essentially, right? And Senjougahara, of course, is like that's Kamburu's the new layer of it, right? Everything that she did to Aragi and Suruga Monkey, right? That's the new thing that she regrets so much. Her own actions made her doubt them. I feel like I spent my whole time in middle school fighting you. Obviously, like this line, you can take some really dark meaning from it, of course, if you imagine Numachi being more representative of the whole suicide thing, right? But I guess it's kind of one and the same, right? Like the idea of running away from your problems, right? Because yeah, I mean, Kamburu, like, yeah, Kamburu, I guess she kind of has, right? She kind of, I imagine that she did kind of spend her whole middle school running away from her problems, right? In that sense, I almost wonder, it's like, Senjougahara was Senjougahara almost like a distraction to her, right? Like I wonder if Kambaru took like a lot of inspiration from Senjougahara in that sense, right? Because we know Senjougahara was sick. Like the idea, right, was that Senjougahara was sick like before the crab stuff happened, right? She was sick before then, in some sense. And I wonder if Kambaru took some inspiration from Senjougahara in some way. Like because she's thought before about Senjougahara like running and being so good at it, and how she like wants to be like Senjougahara. Um, hmm. So it's almost like Senjougahara showed up, and for a while, like she forgot about Numachi, which is interesting, and then it came back to her ever since this whole, ever since Senjougahara was taken away from her by Araragi, and all that stuff happened in Suruga Monkey, right? I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's kind of we just don't have the details really, so it's hard to like speculate about all of this. But the only person in your mind was Senjougahara-san, exactly. Hmm. I forgot you, but I remembered. I'm also going to forget this soon, and then I'll remember again someday. Very likely, probably, right? This isn't a problem that will just go away forever. Hmm. Something you always got to think about, I guess, right? Better to do something and regret it than not do it and regret it, right? So she asked her what she thinks about this phrase. Obviously, it's very relevant to Kanbaru, right? Because what does Kanbaru regret, right? She has done things and she regrets them, right? Obviously. Um, she in the past, I guess it's just the two instances with the devil, right? Those are the easiest things to point to, right? And she's regretted doing those things. She's regretted chasing her desires and the impacts that's had on other people, not doing things and regretting them, while Converu's facing that too now, right? She's the inaction, right? She hasn't been fucking doing anything. She stopped playing basketball. She sits in her room all day and does nothing, right? Um, so she's certainly not doing things, and she's assumedly regretting that as well, right? She's faced both of those sides, right? Of course, Numachi would say this, right? That it's better to not do something and regret it, right? Because of course the inaction in her mind is better. That's like running away from your problem, right? Because why would you take the action, right? Because that's almost like another level to it, right? Because if you regret doing something, it's so easy to think, oh, what if I just hadn't done it? Because inaction is like the default state that people return to, right? That's where Kambru is. That's where Numachi is. So of course Numachi would have that stance, right? Only an irresponsible third party who doesn't know the taste of regret after doing something would say such a thing, right? Of course, Kambaru knows that very well. So does Numachi, probably, maybe, once she remembers her reality about what she is. The best thing is to do it and not regret it. Of course, right? And that's not an unreasonable thing, right? Because Kambaru isn't saying, oh, it's better to just do the things that you won't regret. No, she's saying it's best to do things and just not regret it afterwards, right? Not lament on things forever and stop playing basketball and sit around and do nothing forever, right? It's about the regret. The feeling regret or not is the thing that you have more control over whether or not the thing that you do has negative or positive outcomes, right? Like, regret is essentially a useless emotion, isn't it? Like, I'm really trying to think. Like, obviously, it has purposes in terms of, like, learning about your actions, about, like, from, like, a young age. Regret has a purpose where it's like, you do something wrong and you regret it. You feel like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So it has a purpose in terms of, like, guiding your actions in that sense, right? But regret on, like, a larger scale, once you're past that stage of life, it's like, um, what's the point in wallowing around in regret about things? You know what I mean? Like, outside of it guiding your future actions and deciding what the best thing to do is, you'll just become someone like Convert, where you're taping the evil arm that you think is the fault of all your problems to the wall every day, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I agree with her. That is for sure. Numachi's scary. We play some basketball with her. Breaking through a defense will be hard. Absolutely. There has to be some basketball stuff here to the idea of Numachi playing basketball and all of that. I don't I Numachi playing defense and basketball. Like, God, I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm sure there's some surface level stuff you can think about. The idea that Numachi is like the gatekeeper here, the one who doesn't let you take action, essentially, right? Because like we talked about how it's like dunking is almost like going for what you want and claiming your desire, right? That's why Kanbru said she doesn't like it. Of course, in this case, Numachi is the one in the way of that, right? So, sure. And she gets it. She gets it. Man, this scene is very sad, man. This scene is a rough one. Didn't I win the moment I got my hands on the ball? Ugh, God, even that is such a sad thing to say. Didn't I win the moment I got my hands on the ball, right? Um, and it's like Numachi in the end, she decided to give up. She decided to give up playing basketball, right? Not like she got injured, but you know what I mean, right? Like she stopped playing basketball, right? She did. She had her hands on the ball, and she what did she do with it? You know. Same with Combrew, of course, right? You didn't fully take control of the ball, so it was still in play. Hmm. It's interesting. Oh my god, no, this is actually so sad if you think about this, right? Kambru passing Numachi the ball, and then her following her like this, right? Like Kambru saying, I'm surprised you followed me. Then you wouldn't have followed me, right? If you thought it was just over at that moment, it's almost like God. If you think about the ball and basketball in general, it's just like life, right? And the fact that in this moment Numachi kept playing despite that, like and in this moment as well, it's like this is when Numachi realizes who she is and what she is, and like I don't know, goes to heaven or something. I don't know. You can there's a lot. I don't know. There's a lot of symbolism behind the game of basketball they just played. I guess, right? Ah, God. Hmm. I needed to win the match no matter what. If only she had that attitude before. Even my teammates never really passed me the ball, so I can't believe my opponent did. Hmm. That's a nice thing. I see, I'd forgotten. No, I didn't know. Basketball is a team sport. A very interesting thing for Numachi to say, right? Because what has Numachi's attitude on other people always been, right? She's always viewed other people as opponents, right? She really has viewed it as like a competition, Like the way that she said that like she always viewed other people talking to her when she was in the hospital when she was injured as them like wallowing in her misery and taking glee from it. Like of course it's no surprise that if that's her attitude when something bad happens to her that she ends up going the way she did. Yeah, basketball is a team sport, right? Like life is only worth it with other people. There's a translation of that line, right? You know what I mean? Like yeah, if you view things the way Numachi does and you view other people in that way, and it's like in the other sense with Kombaru, it's almost like she views other people in that way too, just in from like the other side, right? Like Kombaru is so worried about the impact that her actions will have on other people, so worried about like chasing her own desires in that sense, that it's almost like she's thinking of it in that way too, right? She's not viewing basketball as a team sport, right? Like in a team sport like basketball, you have to rely on your teammates to like do things, right? Like for Kombaru, she's so scared about the impact she'll have on other people. It's like she's not relying on other people to be able to like, she doesn't want to do that to them, I guess. She's not relying on her teammates in life, I guess you could say. Um man, I quit without knowing that. Hmm, very sad. It's very interesting that in this moment, it's like Kombu has this realization that she should have kissed Nimachi, that she thinks she's so cute. It really makes me think. It's like in that sense, is that why she had this crush on Senjugahara for so long too? Is that what like was Senjugahara like an inspiration to her in some sense in that way? The same way Numachi was right now in this moment, saying these things to her. Like maybe, I guess. What would you say? What would you say Kanbaru has a fetish for then? Philosophy? Like I don't know. Like I guess, right? Kanbaru constructs these like deep thematic narratives in her head around the lives of other people, and then she gets turned on about it. I guess. I don't know. Hmm. So this is defeat, huh? I feel like I was finally able to lose clearly. In life, I never really understood what I lost to. Man, what a fucking sad thing to say. I never really understood what I lost to. Because it really was, like, senseless, right? I mean, because, like, of course she's gonna regret it, right? She has to be regretting it in this moment, what she did, you know? Because, of course, yeah, she doesn't understand. She didn't understand in the moment. Like, suicide is never the answer. There we go. There's the, the deep message, the hidden message in the text here, right? Like, yeah, sure, right? Quit studying for exams and get back on the court, Comper. Literally, get back out there. Start playing basketball again. Go live your life. Go do things again, Comperu. God, like, do it for Numachi. There are plenty of places to show your skills other than the school team. Sure. What are you standing still for? No, in your case, I guess it would be sitting on the sidelines. Exactly, yeah. It's not even like she's standing still. She's just watching other people play. She's watching other people do things and live their life, and she's too scared to do so herself anymore, you know? In life there aren't any timeouts, you know? And it's like that's what Sindrikahara has been, I mean, Kambaru has been waiting for so long, you know? Is for time to just fix her problem, you know? She thought there was a timeout. She thought eventually it would just be better, you know? Like, but no, of course not, right? And of course, in this moment, it's like Numachi saying this that seems to go so against everything she said for so long, right? The idea that time will fix all your problems. It's like, of course, it's like she herself, it's like she's now been solved as an oddity, you know? I guess in that sense, it's like the same reason why Hajikuji disappeared at the end of Mayuri Snail, right? Of course, Hajikuji came back because I guess she wanted to. Um, but for her, for Numachi, I guess it makes sense, right? She disappears now because it's like the regret that formed her. She's like figured it out now, you know? It's the same thing as like leading Hajikuji to her mother's house, right? I don't want to hear that from you. Yeah. If I think of it as valuable advice from Akuma-sama, it doesn't piss me off too much, of course. And she's gone. No timeouts in life, right? No timeouts in life. She's already gone. You always took things so slow, but you were so quick to leave. Ah. But a part of me doesn't really think I won. You may have always wanted to play as part of a team, but team play was my specialty. And I guess that makes sense, right? Her saying team play is her specialty. Like, yeah, I mean, I just said all that stuff about how it's like she's been ignoring her teammates too, but not really. It's like she has Kumbru has thought too much about her teammates in like the basketball sense, right? She has cared too much about. She has worried too much about what the impact of her actions will be on other people. You know what I mean? Like, so in that case, team play being her specialty makes sense, right? That's why she didn't like dunking, you know? And the way you managed to hold off 5 opponents by yourself was something I always envied. That's just really fucking sad though, right? Her Numachi being able to hold off 5 opponents by herself, but what ended up happening to her, you know? Like, that's right, I didn't hate Numachi. I was jealous of her. Didn't we get a shot exactly like this at the end of Suruga Monkey? I swear to God we did. I swear we did. I think we did. Looking through the hand. It's interesting that she's looking through the hand that was bandaged up, right? The monkey hand. Huh. Looking at the light through it. She was jealous of her. And I guess I get it. I guess I think I understand her jealousy of her. Huh. That night I had a dream like this. Back to Gaintoe. Most of the time, good's motive is jealousy of evil, and evil's motive is sometimes animosity toward good. Basically, that's what all this was to you, Suruga. Good's motive is jealousy of evil, and evil's motive is sometimes animosity toward good. Interesting that she says this, right? Obviously, the idea of jealousy coming up immediately, right after Kumbru just said this, right? About her being jealous of Numachi, right? But I don't think she was jealous of any kind of evil, right? But again, I guess it's just like the idea that Kambru brought up, right? It really is the idea of the non-objectivity of evil, right? Or good or evil, right? Like you can't bear to look at them, you know? But you don't want to look at the consequences of your own actions even, right? Of what makes your own actions good or evil in that sense, you know? So I don't know. The idea of Kamburu being jealous of the evil, because I don't think Numachi ever was evil, right? I don't think it's evil of Numachi to act in a way that was like self-sufficient, I guess you could call it, right? Because I guess that's the evil that you could say Kamburu was like jealous of, you know? Numachi's ability to hold off 5 people by herself, right? Ignore her teammates, I suppose, right? But I don't think that's what it is, right? An evil's motive is sometimes animosity toward good. Basically, that's all this was to you, Suruga. I don't know about that. I don't know if you got this one down, Gantoe. This is a story about an old acquaintance I happened to get a chance to play with. And how I had a lot of fun. It was. It really was. No, God, I love this author so much. No, it was about that, right? It is true that this is what this was about. But that doesn't mean the meaning behind it is any less there, you know? Like, oh, God. One day I will be grateful to my mother. I will understand her feelings, but that day is not today, and not anytime soon either. First, I need to outdo her, or at least match her achievements. Interesting. I don't think I will ever feel the same as her. Huh. Because again, it's like my sense of Gantoe is I almost feel like she was never able to overcome the same thing that I feel like Kambru has overcome through this arc, you know? At least from this line, right? If you can't be a cure, be a poison. Otherwise, you're just plain old water. From this line, it just makes me think that it's like Gain Toei's answer to the same problem that Kambru was having here was to become a poison, right? Was to, like, in some way accept that her actions were poisonous to the people around her, and just, like, say that's better than being water, right? The real thing to do is to not become a cure or a poison or be plain old water, but accept that you aren't poison, right? That you aren't being poisoned just by chasing your desires and getting what you want, you know? And it's like, obviously, if Gain Toei has this deep connection to the devil, she has to have stuff. It has to be like the same fucking problem as Kambru, right? Like, it has to be. Or it has to be very close, right? In terms of Gain Toei not wanting to chase her desires or being scared of what she wishes for. Something like that, right? That's what the devil, like, is, you know? Of course, that girl could be neither cure nor poison. She was water, but muddy water at that. I don't fucking know what that means. She was muddy water. And I guess in that sense, it's like water. What is water? When you drink water, nothing happens, right? Poison kills you, and a cure, I guess, is good. I don't know. So in that sense, it's like the effect that you have on other people, right? Like, I guess you could say Kamburu has been being like water, you know, by doing nothing and not wanting to affect people around her because she's scared of her own actions, you know? So I guess that makes sense, right? Yeah, I don't know. Makes sense. And I like how Kambru kind of just rejects it, you know? She says, like, I'm like clear mud. That doesn't really mean anything, but I like how she essentially just rejects what her mother's saying. I don't, have any interesting aspects to myself. What are you talking about, girl? Yes, you do. But I don't know. It's a process, I guess. What is up, Araragi? He looks sick, doesn't he? Man. Love his hair. Love his new fit. He is looking great these days. I wonder how far into the story Hanamonogatari is going to be, like, compared to everything else, right? Like, how soon are we going to reach this point? Like, I guess it's weird to say it like this. It feels like we kind of had a more consistent chronology up to this point, you know what I mean? And it feels like, like, we have so much stuff in between, like, where we were before, like, Kabuki Monogatari and here, that we're gonna have to go back and, like, fill out, you know what I mean? But, like, when are we gonna, like, catch up, I guess, to Hanamonogatari? Are we gonna keep doing this? Are we gonna keep going back and forth? We're gonna have more arcs, like, way off in the future? I don't know. That's just... I guess my question is, like, how much stuff will there be between Kabuki Monogatari and this, essentially, you know? And when are we gonna be, like, past all of it and see more, you know? Apparently, when he turned up, my grandma said, sure, just go to her room and wake her up. I guess he comes here all the time, or he used to come here all the time. Okay, no, I love this, right? So Araragi is he's trying to do their banter thing, right? He's doing the thing where he says crazy, ridiculous things to Kanbaru, and they bounce off each other, both saying ridiculous, crazy things. And Kanbaru is like not playing along with it anymore. And I think this is like really big. Honestly, I think this means a lot because I'm telling you, Kanbaru's attitude this whole time, the whole way she's acted like this, the whole reason why she has played this role for Araragi and acted so crazy and called herself like, his sex slave and done this crazy shit, and thrown herself at him all the time. Um, is it all goes back to that first conversation they had in Suruga Monkey outside the cram school, when she said like she could replace Senjagahara for him, right? And it's like if he ever gave in, and she could just like give him her body and all of this, So it's like the idea was her acting so crazy and provocative all the time with him and playing with him in this way was like almost her trying to tempt him to do that, And I don't know if it was like a conscious thing exactly from Kanbaru. Like I don't think it's like some evil plan she had to act that way, but I think that is kind of like an explanation for her actions, right? So now the fact that she's not playing along with it anymore and she's not acting like that anymore, at the same time when it's like she's in the process of giving up on Senjagahara, finally, that makes so much sense. That's like, yeah, that makes sense, right? Man. We clean up all the books. Well, we really just bring them outside, but you worked really hard. It must have been painful. Oh, God, Aragi would know better than anyone, huh? Hmm. For better or worse, you're too harsh on yourself. I would have given up part way. I thought I was modeling myself after you. No, I love like him telling her that she's too harsh on herself. It like every line from Araragi and this whole thing is so meaningful. Like because like Araragi saying this to me, it like belies some kind of understanding that perhaps he also understands that he has been way too harsh on himself before, right? Like um which, of course, he's not at that point at all yet in, like, the normal timeline back in, like, Kabuki Monogatari. I don't think he's reached that point at all, the idea that he can understand that he can be too harsh on himself. Um, I thought I was modeling myself after you. Her saying that is so, like, um, that goes so well with what Aragi said in the last episode about, like, playing a role or doing what you think other people expect of you, right? Or, like, that's, like, what shapes your behavior, right? He has an understanding of that. And that's like just correct, right? That's like how like people's personalities work and like how like who you are is like shaped is through the influences of other people. Which of course with Aragi's whole thing about humanity, it's so meaningful, right? So Kanburu is gonna give Aragi the devil pieces for Shinobu to eat, which I guess why not? I guess she'll like him. I guess we're getting rid of the devil pieces. I wonder if that is what Cumber's gonna do. Chase after the rest of the devil parts and destroy them all? Maybe. I don't know. I can imagine it. It certainly sounded like that's something she might be interested in. The miseries of others taste like honey. This is Schadenfreude, which is like that same idea, right? Finding like humor or like joy in other people's misery. I can't say I understand that. Listening to people brag about their misery just bores me, I guess. No, normally, Aragi, it just bothers you, but I'm sure. There aren't many people more miserable than you. I'm happier than anyone. Feels so good to hear Aragi say that, right? Obviously, it's not that serious of a scene, but just hearing him say that he's happier than anyone. I love that. That's great. If you could have any wish, what would you wish for? So many things. I guess I'm not sure what I'd pick. That's feels very interesting because I wonder, right? Like Aragi always seems so single-minded, right? It always seems like there's one specific thing that he wants at any given moment. And it's just arc by arc, I guess it changes. There's always so many things. I guess it's probably like there's a lot of things you'd probably nail it down to at specific moments, right? Like to be human again or to die at some moments. So hearing him say that he's not sure what he wants, right? That he's not sure what he would wish for. Even that just seems so meaningful. Like because he's always so single-minded. He's always so, he always has something in his life that he really wants to fix, that he really thinks he needs to change. God, it's really like he's fixed now. Like he's got it all figured out, Like, it's great. I wonder what Kambru would wish for. But I guess that's the idea, is like she's scared of her own wishes, That's what it all goes down to, right? Hmm. But of course, this is what Aragi would wish for, is for Karen to not be his little sister. But not really. He wants them to change the law. But no, not really. Yeah. Thank you. Obviously, of course. Great. And it doesn't matter if a wish comes true or not. Wishes are something you grant for yourself. And so, sometimes they don't. But probably, there's value in making the wish itself, right? Hmm. There's value in making the wish itself, which of course is true, right? That is what Kambru has been lacking. She has been unable to make the wish, right? Or she's had wishes, and she's been afraid of that, right? She hasn't wanted to try and fulfill them in any sense, right? To even make the wish at all, right? Because she's been scared of what she desires. So yeah, of course, right? Hmm. Whether it comes true or not, it's probably better to know what sort of thing you'd wish for, right? Yeah, it's like Kambro needs to know what she wants, right? It's been so long. It's just like what she said in the last episode about how she doesn't know what's like her anymore. She's been so out of touch with what she wants and what she, wants to do in life. She stopped playing basketball, Like, um, that yeah, she needs to know what she even wants in the first place, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the sad thing about her previous problems too, that led her to so much pain with the whole beating up those kids and almost killing Araragi, is even in those moments it's like, are those things that she truly did wish for, Like, I guess in those moments, yes, but when she was so unwilling to pursue the outcome, understanding what it means, right? I guess that's kind of the important thing, right? Is like, how far are you willing to go for that wish, and how much of a wish depends on understanding what you would actually have to do for it to come true, Like, hmm. What you want, who do you like to be, what kind of person are you? If you don't know that, it's easy to get lost and confused, just like fucking Araragi, right? Just like you. Man, so good from him. Like, I don't know. Hmm. Because it's like Aragi, like this is so meaningful, because it's like, if we believed Aragi, it's like he already knew what kind of person he was. He thinks the kind of person he is was already predetermined, like by the time Kizu started, So him saying this, it's so good. Maybe that's why she left me the monkey's paw. Maybe, I don't know. It's interesting if that's the idea, right? The idea that she left her the paw to grant her wishes, right? Because it certainly had the opposite effect, right? Because I guess the reality of it is that Kambru is just different from her mother, right? That she's just not like her, right? If Kambru's mother, if the meaning she took from the monkey's paw is that she can take what she wishes for, despite it being poison to others and that being worth it, it's better than being water. That's the opposite that Kambru took from it, right? She was unable to pursue her wishes in that same way using the devil, which is like a good thing, you know? Oh, God, I love Araragi. And her looking at him in this moment, I don't know. It's so, I don't know. I don't know. And we are cutting her hair. And of course, the hair goes back to the same thing, right? Even what he says here, right? Your current hairstyle looks great on you. That's why she grew it in the first place. It was in that same conversation when she said, yeah, I'll grow out my hair to like, almost to look like Shinjo Gahara, right? Because yeah, her hair does look so much like Shinjo Gahara's hair used to. Um, so yeah, it's like the point was that it looks good to Araragi, But it isn't good for sports. Yeah, literally, she's doing it for herself now, right? Time to go play some fucking basketball. This is the third time he's cut a girl's hair. What, did he cut Hanakawa's hair in between? Or are we gonna have another haircut, like, in between here and Kabuki and that? Like, I don't know. I guess I believe he cut Shinjo Gahara's hair, I guess. But we didn't see that. I want you to cut it, of course. My way of ending this. Absolutely. Let's go. Thought I'd go visit Numachi's grave. God, that's just so fucking sad. Numachi's grave. No, the fucking sad thing, too, is that no one even knew Numachi was fucking dead, Like, I don't know. Like, people knew she was dead. Her family knew she was dead, right? But like, people didn't know about it enough that Kanbaru never heard about it, right? Um, Higasa didn't know about it immediately, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Very sad. So she wants to keep up the work to find the other parts of the devil. Aragi tells her not to, but I don't know. I mean, Kanbaru doesn't want to gather them up, right? They'll still be split up because she's gonna destroy them. So no need to carry that burden alone, man. You have to hope, of course, that the legendary Aragi double standard doesn't apply to that, because if it doesn't, then man, Aragi's got it all figured out, huh? God, this fucking scene right here, him cutting her hair, it's the best thing ever. Finally, not running away from her problems anymore, right? It's like, there's so many layers to it, right? Like, the fact that her hair only grows with time, right? It's a literal representation of how long she's waited for time to just fix this problem. It's like she's finally cutting it now. It's like she's cutting away all that time that she was waiting for so long, right? Like, it's like she can imagine in some sense that if she's just waited, made her hair grow longer and longer and longer, waited for time to pass, that it would somehow fix the problem, but it never has. So she's finally getting her hair cut. It's also being done with scissors, which is like a Senju thing. Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's awesome. Kanbaru, if they find out what you did here, a lot of people will say a lot of things to you. Some will say you did the right thing, and some will say you did the wrong thing. But that's not what matters. Insane thing for Aragi to say. No matter what anyone says, you don't have to worry, because you didn't do the right thing and you didn't do the wrong thing. What a thing for Aragi to say, right? Like, that's Aragi's whole thing, is what's right and what's wrong, and that's his entire thing, is figuring out what he should do and what's right and what's wrong. Like, man, he figured it all out. How did he do it? How did he do it? God. Man, it's crazy. It is crazy. It was all part of being young. And even this line here, it's like him being able to understand. It's like, because of course he's applying this to himself too, to his own actions as he's saying this, right? And the fact that he can say that it was all just part of being young is like he himself understanding that everything he did throughout the whole story, assumedly, was never really this like life-ending group of things that that he had to almost kill himself over, right? It was all just part of being young, right? It was never this whole, he didn't need to reach suicide because of worrying about what's right and what's wrong, Like, oh god, it's just so good. It's amazing. And that's the end of Hanamonogatari. It was so good. It was so good. All right. Well, my discussions have just been getting longer and longer, haven't they? The video length has just been slowly increasing. I'm kind of worried about that. Like, what are we going to be doing in 50 episodes from now? Are the discussions going to be 5 hours long? I hope not. That I don't have time for that. But this was a really good arc, so I guess it deserved the hour-long discussions for every single episode. If anyone out there listened to every discussion for every episode for this whole thing, I hope you have everything figured out more than I do, because there's still a lot of things I'm unclear on. But thank you for joining me for all of this, I suppose. That was a very good arc. I don't even know what we're watching next. I haven't even downloaded the next thing yet, so it's a surprise for me. I don't know what we're watching next, but it'll be in the correct order, I hope. So, I don't know. But yeah, I guess that is it. That is a wrap for Hanamonogatari. So, please, if you enjoy my videos, subscribe, please. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. And I will see you in the next one.